The year is 897 AD. Night has fallen upon Rome, shrouding the holy city in an eerie silence. The only sound is the mournful toll of church bells, echoing through the deserted streets. Inside the Basilica of St. Peter, a flickering candle illuminates a scene both bizarre and horrifying. Before a council of bishops lies a corpse propped up on a throne. This is no ordinary trial. It is the Cadaver Synod, and the defendant is dead. His name, Pope Formosus, dragged from his tomb to face the vengeance of his enemies. The trial of Pope Formosus was not about justice, but about power. Formosus, once a powerful figure in the church, was now a lifeless pawn in a deadly game of religious and political intrigue. His successor, Pope Stephen VI, had ordered the exhumation of Formosus's body. Why? Stephen VI saw Formosus as a rival, a threat to his legitimacy. Formosus had made enemies during his short papacy, and Stephen was eager to exploit their resentment. Born into a noble Roman family, Formosus was a man of great ambition and political skill. He rose through the ranks of the church, eventually becoming Bishop of Porto. His intelligence and charisma earned him both admirers and enemies. Formosus was appointed papal legate to Bulgaria, where he successfully converted many to Christianity. However, his decision to crown a new king angered the powerful king of the Franks, sowing the seeds of future conflict. Formosus's involvement in these political matters would later be used against him in the bizarre trial that awaited him in death. Pope Stephen VI, a man consumed by suspicion and a thirst for power, ascended to the papacy after Formosus's death. Stephen harbored deep resentment toward Formosus, believing that he had illegitimately gained the papacy. Fueling Stephen's rage were whispers from Formosus's enemies who accused him of perjury and violating church law. Consumed by paranoia and a desire to solidify his own position, Stephen VI decided to put Formosus on trial, even though the former pope had been dead for months. Section 5. Judgment of the Dead. The trial itself was a grotesque spectacle. Dressed in papal vestments, Formosus's decomposing corpse was propped up on a throne in the basilica. Stephen VI, acting as both prosecutor and judge, hurled accusations at the lifeless Formosus. A deacon was appointed to answer for the deceased pope, but the trial was a sham from the start. Formosus was accused of violating canon law, performing his duties as bishop while holding the papacy, and even aspiring to the papacy through illicit means. The charges were politically motivated, stemming from Stephen's desire to discredit and humiliate his predecessor. Section 6. The Price of Defiance. The verdict was never in doubt. Found guilty on all charges, Formosus was posthumously excommunicated, his papacy declared null and void. Stephen VI then ordered the papal garment stripped from Formosus's corpse, his fingers, which had been used for blessings, chopped off. The desecrated body was then dragged through the streets of Rome and thrown into the Tiber River, a final act of humiliation. The macabre spectacle horrified many in Rome, who saw it as a sign of the church's descent into chaos and corruption. Section 7. Retribution and Reburial. The trial and mutilation of Formosus's corpse triggered widespread outrage and instability. Romans, horrified by Stephen's actions, rose up in revolt. Stephen VI was imprisoned by his enemies and later strangled to death, a victim of the very forces he had unleashed. Formosus's body was later recovered from the Tiber and, in a small act of redemption, reburied with honor in St. Peter's Basilica. Subsequent popes condemned the Cadaver Synod, labeling it a travesty of justice. Section 8. Echoes of a Macabre Trial. The Cadaver Synod remains a chilling reminder of the brutal power struggles that often plagued the medieval church. The trial, a grotesque spectacle of revenge and political maneuvering, shocked even in an era accustomed to violence. Formosus, once a powerful figure, became a posthumous victim of his successor's paranoia and ambition. The events of the Cadaver Synod serve as a cautionary tale, reminding us of the dangers of unchecked power and the importance of justice even in death.